Turn the page.
Roses bloom where the old road bends, petals fall where the story ends. Forces rise in the morning light, pushing my heart through the endless night. A golden key in my trembling hand unlocks the truth where the cosmos stand. Scrolls of starlight, they call my name, singing rise up, it's time to change. Turn the page, let the fire ignite through the Akashic glow where the soul takes flight. Roses and keys, scrolls of truth in my hands, with the force of forever, I'll dance where I stand. Turn the page, turn the page. The Akashic vault, it's a radiant stream, scrolls unfurled in a cosmic dream. Every life I've lived, every star I've chased, written in light, no moments erased. The rose is red for the love I've known, forces wild.
Hello, everybody out there, who's ever out there. I was all ready to go. I think there's a Mercury retrograde coming in because it looks for, is Janine out there? Is she coming live? What can we destroy? I took a half an hour to set up everything, and then I hit something that is so sensitive on my computer, and I lost my internet. So don't touch a thing. All right, you guys, we're going to talk a little bit about the tiny homes out there for seniors that are living in it out there. And why did I pick that topic is because I'm seeing so much out there. And I've had friends talk about this, like when they get a little bit older, just give me a tiny little home and I'll be fine. I actually saw a video out on YouTube where a lady is living in a shed, and it's one of those larger sheds, if you will. But I was kind of surprised to see that older senior people are wanting to do that. Now, the ideal thing would be, and I'm going to get to a lot of this information here in a minute, but let's see here. The ideal thing would be is if you can live on the property of a relative, so that, you know, if you're going to make that plunge, that at least you'll have some help around near you. And we're going to talk a lot about the affordability and the financial constraints, and the reduced maintenance and just downsize and simplicity, right? So before I get to that, I just want to bring something else to your attention. If you are not, or if you have not seen this, and I also want to say one other thing, is on my software, they've upgraded again, and they're doing the vertical and the horizontal. And I think it's because more people watch on their phones. So if I move back and forth like this, because I think I'm out of view of one of them, I don't know how this works. I might just turn it all off. But hello. So first thing I want to kind of share with you guys is see if this is still up here. No, it's not. So let's go back and I will share again. And this happened to come out last night. I actually seen this last night, and I saved this. This is from Donald J. Trump. Okay, so let's clear the air. And it says all the money's left over from 2000 paying from the $2,000 payments made to low and middle income U.S. citizens from the massive tariff income pouring into our country from foreign countries, which will be substantial and will be used for substantiality to pay down national debt. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So what does this mean? Is basically, from my takeaway from what people are saying, is that you're going to get $2,000 payments, and it's going to go to the low and middle income U.S. citizens. Say it with me, citizens. All right, and I'm not really sure if we're going to get this or not. So if you guys want to put your comments in there. Hello, Alley Cat, Son, Amy Boyd, and Lori's is out there on YouTube. And I'm going to jump over to Rumble because lately Rumble people have been rumbling with YouTube. They're saying Rumble is better than the YouTubers. But before I get into any of that, I had a show that was scheduled yesterday afternoon with Dina Jump, and I had to cancel it due to a personal incident that actually happened. It was on me. I canceled it. We're going to have her back again. I just want to let everybody know that we come in close and say this to you guys. I felt so bad because it was up almost to the eighth hour or something like that. And I'm thinking, oh, and then we had something that happened, which was I had to cancel it. There was no other option. But we're going to have Dina on. I have never met Dina, and I want to get to know who she is. And I always thought it'd be really funny too. Not funny, but I've seen her so much, but we don't know her, and that's where we're going to go with it. The next time I schedule her in. Next Sunday, I have Laura Van Trine scheduled, so maybe I could do it the following Sunday after that, but we're getting real close to holidays, and I'll see what Dina's schedule is like. But I wanted to make that announcement, so I had people texting me saying, Janine, where are your links? And I couldn't answer at that moment, but we're going to have her back in here. All right, so let's get back to this monies, right? Let's look at this a little closer here. All right. Amy Boyd said she did look for the show also. Yeah, things do happen. They really do happen. And let's see here. So let's talk a little bit about the monies. And then we're going to go talk about our tiny homes, right? Because it's the perspective of what's going on. But then let me just throw this in here. I think it was Trump's administration is taking a look at the 50-year mortgages. Oh, yo. What are they doing? So right now, I hope we all do get that $2,000 payment to us. We could all use that. God knows it'll be gone before it even hits the bank. But 50-year mortgages, that's renting something in one place for 50 years. Now, you could say, well, that's good because then you get a loan, so you get whatever. It's crazy to me. I always thought 30 was bad. 15, I get, that's okay. Sorry, it's my ears clog up at this time of the year. Don't ask me why. All right, so and that's the thing is people are all out on social media saying, no, don't do it. But going back to don't do the 50-year because you're renting from someone and you're making somebody awfully rich at the banks. That is my thought, my prerogative to say that. But they also made them very rich at 30. So what's the difference between 30 and 20? Maybe about $100,000. All right. And a lot of people my age paid off their homes. This is what we did. And maybe it'll help others that are up and coming and wanting to buy houses. We moved, and I had never planned to move as many times as we did, especially in Illinois. But each time you move, hopefully you are making a profit, and there was going to be times that you're not. But that allowed us to get to a point where we could say, we can have a 1-year mortgage or a 15-year mortgage, whatever it might be. So that's where I'm kind of going with this. So the $2,000 payment is only going to go to low and middle class incomes. The rich aren't going to get it. Yay. And people are out there asking, I'm going to read some of their comments out there before we get into the tiny homes, is what exactly are the plans for this? Is this $2,000 per person or per taxpayer? It's per person. So if you are married, you will your family household will get $4,000. Okay, so don't go out and get married for this. It's not worth it. All right, and then people are also asking this, like, would much rather they end the income tax than the $2,000. Look, they're doing as much as they could possibly do at this point in time about income tax, property tax, tax on tips, all of this stuff. And you know what? All this has to be played out so that people understand it. You can't just flip a switch. And as asinine as it seems that people are saying that this is a movie, they have to show certain things. The last show that I actually did, I talked about all the people that should, that's exiting out of DC. Like, who did I say it was? A lot of people from Illinois, right? There's a lot of I had a whole list. And so they're talking about the government coming back online, right? So, who are all the ones on the Democrat side that basically said, okay, we'll take a look at, turning this all back on again. And it was all the ones most of them that I happen to mention that are leaving, that their terms are up. They're too old. They're effing 80 plus years old, and they're running our government. I can't run my computer and they can't either. It must be like auto people behind these faces. That's all I can think of. I'm talking about the auto pen. I'm talking about the auto people. Who's really running the government on when they get to be 80, 90 years old? That's all that I'm saying. All right, so let's just see what else that they are also. People are out there saying they don't need their check. They tell them to keep mine. And I think it's because of the taxes. They're afraid they're going to be paid on, they have to pay taxes on that. I think the last time that this happened, you didn't have to pay the taxes. So take the money and deal with it when it comes. For people to bluntly say, keep my check, don't waste your time. Those are going to be the first ones that are actually cashing it in. People are also saying this isn't tax money. It's money from the tariffs. People really have to understand what the tariffs are. We've earned it by being ripped off for years. My God, don't even get Janine started on the Obama healthcare system. Don't go there. Don't go there with me because I'm still pissed off about what I've actually found out. Hopefully, I can find the chart to show you that Trump has put out there. This is basically a slush fund for the Democrats, and it always has been. And the ones that actually have 0-0 chosen for their health care plan, they don't pay anything into it, but they got a huge ass deductible. Those have been signed up by people that are not even in this country, and they get kickbacks. The insurance companies get the kickbacks on it. So that's another show. I have to calm it down because I'm very, very excitable when I find out about this Obamacare and how it screwed so many people from getting help. All right, let's see what else they have to say out there. People are saying that this could turn into an absolute fiasco. How many Americans do not pay income taxes but manage to collect every year? Yeah, I kind of get that. So people are kind of going off of what they're seeing out on social media. Everybody's got a free hand, right? Put your hand out, we'll fill it up, and then the ones that actually work don't get the benefits of it, right? At all. And just see the people who never pay income taxes get a refund based upon the number of kids that they drop. Yeah, and I look at that very closely also myself, especially when it came to the SNAP program. All right, let's see. So we're talking money here this morning, and I'm going to kind of move on from this $2,000 that people will be getting. And I just want to see if there's something else in here. So Doge is definitely taking a look at, this is breaking right now. Let me just kind of, hopefully I've got I do. I have this up here. Let's take Amy Boyd down here. All right. So this is another one. It says Doge had discovered that there was 394 million Social Security recipients in the U.S. In the U.S., there's only 334 million citizens in the U.S. Somebody do the math. What's your reaction to this? Let me come back up here. All right. Let me come back up here. So this is what they're discovering. So there's still a Doge program in place. If you don't know that, what else do we have out there? Not going to talk about New York. I've done that the last two shows. Let's see what else we have here. I'm trying to find the one where they're actually showing where Obama was taken off from the top. I've got so many in here. I should probably take this off and try to find this. So that's where we're at right now. Now let's, what is this here? Yeah, it's the videos that they're showing out there. I don't know if they're AI, and I get confused, so I won't go there because I found out I've showed some, come to find out that they're AI, and it's people are just getting. I used to be able to say, "Oh my God, look at that guy's got 3 feet. How could this be AI?" Right now, they're getting better. They're getting much better at correcting their stuff out there. Okay, let's get back to the tiny homes. Let's talk a little bit about that. I want all of you to be honest, and I have to go over to Rumble here and just see. We've got Debbie. It says, I believe it's when we see it. She's heard this before. At least they're talking bigger numbers. Obamacare gave us $250. Now that's when I said, keep your fucking money. A lot of people heard 5,000 a few months back, right? I think that's what Debbie's referring to. And Now they're talking about 2,000. I don't know if that's real or not, but what do you guys think? All right. So first of all, I just want to know how many of you have considered, if you're senior citizen or if you're just young and can't make it, you're tired of paying rent, but you know somebody that could remodel. They have those, what do they call those? On the back of the trains, right? People are using those to basically convert the metal homes, right, into a metal home. Some of them are using sheds. You could probably get a shed for about $2,000-3,000 out there and can convert it. But my thought is, please, if you're going to consider doing this, be near somebody on a piece of land that is they're already paying taxes on. If it's considered a shed, now you're going to have to look into this, especially if there's an HOA or something like that. You might not want to do it there, but if somebody's got a few acres of land and says, "Hey, come on over, let's build you a tiny home, and you can live comfortably and won't have to pay property taxes and all that other stuff," I would consider that. Why not, right? And let's just see what we have here. Oh, shipping containers from Debbie out on Rumble. Thank you so much. Yeah, I've seen people using shipping containers also for their tiny homes. A lot more we're using shipping containers. Let's see here. Lori's is saying, all right, let's see here. Alley Cat, I want a compound of containers. I'm actually seeing that, not the compound of containers, but what they're actually doing down here by Gulf Shores. And it's just like a bunch of tiny little houses. And I'm not sure if these are for vacationers to come in, but they're really bright, vibrant colors because it's almost like, the Sunshine State down here. It's got the pretty blues and the pinks and the yellows and stuff like that. But there's a whole compound of it. And I looked at it, and the first time I saw it, I kind of laughed. But then I thought, someone's thinking. So even if there's not a lot of people that are going to come down here as vacationers or tourists or rent those out, they got people that can go in there and buy and live off of them, but you're real close. You reach out and touch your neighbors type of thing. Let's see. Laurie says, nope, no chicken sheds. Thank you. No, please. Let's see what else we have out here. Charlene says, if you can get a permit, depending on where you're at. Exactly. That's the key thing, is where you are at, and if you can get a permit. That's why I'm saying, if you like where I'm at, there's a lot of country out here, and I see people put multiple mobile homes on a property. Some people, I don't know why. I guess what really amazes me is that there's a lot of hurricanes here and there's a lot of tornadoes here, as there is in the Midwest. When you could talk about these mobile homes, I just think that maybe the shipping containers are a lot more sturdier than a mobile home. I have no idea. Any experts out there, let me know. Let's see here. Amy says, buy your own little piece of land, or family or friends. Yeah, I have family and friends going on all this stuff, right? Debbie over on Rumble says, I love the tiny homes. I see and love the tiny homes community in Tennessee. I believe they're called Incredible Tiny Homes. Yeah, you can't miss it. So what caught my attention is that there was a woman that was doing the story. She was, I forgot, maybe say 75 years old. And she was living out of her car. And my heart, I could not turn off this video. And I said, I got to see this through and see how this works out. So she's basically showing you her routine. She goes in, she parks somewhere. She's got an SUV. In the back of the SUV is her bed. And then the next morning she wakes up, she goes up the road to a cemetery where they have free water for you watering the plants and stuff, by the cemeteries. She gets freshened up by doing that. And then I guess that her video must have hit a half a million. Somebody saw that. I think she was really close by the Canadian border. And somebody actually, for a non-profit, got her into an apartment. And it called it an apartment, but it looked like it was a tiny home near a lake. And I thought, oh my gosh, and she was so excited to get into that. And people out there do need help. It's the other reason why people go to, it's not just seniors, it just could be anybody. They want these tiny homes. They want something that feels like a home, but not a tent. And they want something that they can call their own and just live very comfortably. And I think this is going to be popping up more and more. So I actually saw a community down here like that also. So the rising cost of everything right now, many seniors, and I use the word seniors, but you can interject anything else in there, homeless people, whatever you may say, it's financial challenges. And why are people, so let me step back here for a minute. If you are on the brinks of going homeless, there are so many uh, groups out there that can help you. All you have to do is, number one, be willing to take the help. Number two, not be a drug addict. Number three, not be an alcoholic. Just kind of being in, just saying, I got bad luck, and it's just that type of thing, and they will interview you and help you out. I think there's always a time that we have to ask God for help, and that would probably be one of the times, especially if you have pets with you or children. A lot of people have to, when they live out of their car, they give up their pet. And that's also heartbreaking. In this one video that I'm talking about, this older lady that was living out of her car, she was able to get her cat back. And she was so happy. I don't know if it was a family member that took her cat or what have you. But many seniors do face the financial challenges, especially if you decide, I'm going to retire, I'm doing okay, and then all of a sudden, you got to collect Social Security. You can see what Social Security is bullshit. What really pisses me off is that there's Social Security. People are doing about maybe $2,000 at the tops, and then they're giving away the free freaking aid to anybody that comes into this country, anywhere between $6,000 to $8,000. Like they said, how many kids that they're toting with them. But but you lived your life in your own country. They come into our country because their country isn't good enough. And then all of a sudden it's just like, please help me, help me. I have my hands out, please. In the meantime, they're hating where they live. So what happens with a senior person when they think that they plan for this their whole life, they get it in there, they say, okay, I'm going to retire at this age because I worked my ass off. Now what's going to happen is they decide, let's do this, let's retire. And one of them dies. They can't do this anymore. That's what happened is life, something else comes in and it's another tough time. So maybe someone says, all right, I got enough equity in my home that I can sell it and downsize. And so that's why they're looking at the lower cost of the tiny homes. They convert their sheds specifically cheaper than a traditional home or an apartment. Let's see here. A tiny home can cost anywhere between $10,000 to $50,000 compared to a median price exceeding $400,000 in the U.S. market at 6% interest rate. There was a time that you could go to the banks and borrow the money and get a low interest rate based upon your credit score. That whole credit score, all that stuff is such bullshit. I've had it up to here. Shed converting into living spaces can be even less expensive, sometimes under $5,000 with a basic modification. And there are some pretty creative carpenters out there. And all you have to do is ask around. And I'm sure that because it's so popular, this thing that I'm talking about right now is not something new. This has been going on for a long, long time. I've talked to friends over the years that said, I think I can live in a camper or convert my my minivan into my house, all that stuff. Let's see what Lori's has to say. Seniors should live in the castle with large kitchens complete with chefs. See, one of the reasons why I'm talking about this, Lori, is because I'm having a hard time thinking about all these people that are very successful in their life and they've helped people and they're good-natured Christian people. And then something like this happens, right? I got to jump over to Rumble here. I see a bunch of Rumble chats going on over here. And let's just see here. I see Dragonflies out there. Hello, sweetheart. How are you doing? Yeah, so let me finish my thought here. What Lori's was saying is that they should live in their own castle. Yeah, whatever you want to call your castle. But sometimes we have health issues. Now, I see Charlene is over on Rumble. Hey, how you doing? Charlene says my tiny home is better than no home, but given a choice, I would rather have wide open spaces, of course, because we are such powerful, beautiful people. We our energy has to expand, and it's got to be bright. And if you're in a something very confined and strict, you're depressed. So I had to sign up because I'm not quite 65 yet. I still have to pay for affordable, what do they call it, healthgov.com. You got to go to health.com. So last year I went and visited the doctor twice, and I was paying out of the yin yang for something that I probably will never ever see again, but the insurance companies are seeing this. And this is the downfall of the senior citizens. This is what Obamacare created. And I'm not going to be afraid to say this shit because I'm tired of it. They raped and pillaged every possibility of every corner of anything that's financial in this country. So when you have to go and actually sign up for insurance, now you got to take into effect all the doctors that put you on all kinds of medications. Of course, you want to be insured to make sure that you are covered in case anything happens. And guess what happens is you can't afford it. So I'm lucky that I'm on one effing pill for now. And I had to fire 5 doctors since I've been down here because they called me and I didn't call them. There was a house doctor thing. When did that ever come back? When they come basically saying, you got to go there and do this test and do this test. I said, hey, why don't I call you when I need you? So I kept moving on, because they get paid for doing all these tests. They don't get paid for being doctors. There's so many people in this world that they still got to get in there and manipulate them. And I know who's running the show here behind all of that, as you do. So when it comes back to going in making sure that, okay, I have to sell a lot of things. I have to downsize. And let's just use it that way. It's downsizing, right? You want to simplify and downsize. And many seniors do choose this after retirement. So you basically want to shed the large home and in your possessions. And a lot of times all these possessions were things that you built as a family. There's more than one person. And so are you going to utilize all these things? And the way that I look at it, when I have to let something go, is somebody else will be more honored to use it or be able to use it more than I will. So typically under 400 square feet encourages minimalization to reduce the burden of managing a larger property. 400 square feet, geez. So tiny homes and sheds often are placed on family members' properties, allowing the seniors to live close to loved ones while maintaining separate living spaces. Sometimes it's called granny pods. I'm not making this up. So accessory dwelling units, ADU, look it up if you want to do your research on it. Maybe I'm helping somebody out here today. They provide emotional support and caregiving access without the loss of privacy. ADU, accessory dwelling units. For example, in places like California, zoning laws have been relaxed to allow ADUs, making it easier for families to house aging relatives. More shit that they can dig up. I wouldn't tell them nothing. Tiny homes can be customized for accessibility, like features like single level layouts, grab bars, or ramps, making it more suitable for seniors with mobility issues. That's another big thing you have to take in consideration, is the mobility issues. Take a look at your diet, what you're eating, what's giving you inflammation, stop drinking soda, that type of thing. Some seniors value a low maintenance lifestyle, which allow them to focus on hobbies, travel, social activities, rather than home upkeep. And there does come a time in your life, and I think I'm at that time right now. It's just like, the reason why we sold our last property is because there was so much more upkeep. You live on a property where it's got over 50 trees. If those trees grow, you got to maintain them. The leaves fall down. It's one thing after another. You had this huge deck on the back. The woods had to be replaced. And that was a lot of hardship on my husband and his back, which he doesn't really have a good supportive back. So that's why we made this and said, let's go and get a ranch style home and simplify. All right. And I think it is a good thing. How many of you actually think it's a good thing to learn a hobby, learn a game? I love Mexican Train. It was a Mexican Train game. This is iced tea, not bourbon, you guys. I couldn't even drink alcohol if I wanted to. All right, let's jump over to the Rainbow Rants to see what they got going on. We have Debbie57, who's my co-host out there. She says, I follow quite a few people on YouTube that live in their live in their vehicles, and they do just fine. Yeah, but I kind of a little bit concerned about their stability, being depressed. That's a big issue. One of the ladies that was living in her car that I talked about earlier in the beginning of the show. So stay with me, you guys. I have more to talk to you guys about this. But she said to her, she sometimes puts on a facade that she is okay, when in actuality she was lonely and depressed. You could be in the best spirit of mind and live in a really good life and say, I can go live in a tiny home. I think I could do it if I was on the property of one of my relatives, family members. I think I would be okay with that, but not to be in my car. I think that's too much on the heart. That's too much on your self-esteem. You got to take a look and just run through your chakras. And you could do this anytime. If I were to have to live in my car, or if I were to have to live in a tiny home, you just do a reality check with your energy and see how you feel about that. Debbie is saying the same thing. She would love to do it, but only if she was in a community. And I get that. I get that too. Let's see what else we have here. I'm losing my pop-out chat. I'm sure it's in a couple places here. Yes, it is. All right. What else is Debbie? Debbie has yeah, she's kind of agreeing with the depression out there. Yeah, Debbie, we really have to take a look at all factors. And that's why I happen to mention that if you're looking for somebody to kind of give you the layout of the land, so to speak, as the ADUs, accessory dwelling units, look into it. It's not going to hurt anything for you to do that. So your health and your lifestyle needs, again, and then there's also the housing shortage. Did you guys know that over the weekend, there is a housing shortage? Want to know why? Nobody is moving. Their houses are paid off. They're staying put, which is only part of it. The other part that they didn't say is that these younger people today cannot afford a mortgage, $500,000, 6% interest. So people are just staying where they're at. Let's see what else we have out there. Let me see. So I'm just going to summarize everything here. Yeah, so there's a lot of economic pressure out there for people to basically convert and make these sheds, if you will, that I'm calling into cozy land. And organizations like Habitat for Humanity also piloted these tiny home project for seniors in Oregon. So if you're in Oregon and you know of one, look it up. Let's see what else we have out here. Yeah, so Minnesota, there's stories out there in Minnesota, 240 square foot RV mobile styles homes. I guess if you want to like to travel, and a lot of people have been doing that for years. They just sell their house, sell everything, and they get in their mobile home. And you have to make sure it's one that's you can drive, because if you're pulling it, it's too much on an older person. Let's see what else we have out here. So they're saying, so why senior friendly? Avoids steep ladders. Common in tiny homes include grab bars, focuses on the relaxations for the retirees. So one of the things that, okay, I'm going to kind of stop looking at that. One of the things that as you get older, you do get a lot more lonely, and you'd have to have other people of like minds to talk to. So we basically had joined something up the road here, a lodge. And let me tell you, it was almost going in there to meet a lot of the people. I can tell that these were all senior citizens, and the funny thing about it is a lot of them were from Illinois. Every one of them, some of them were from the town that I was in, all from Illinois down here. And they all left for, we all leave for various reasons and stuff like that. But a lot of it was because they couldn't afford the housing in Illinois. And so when they came down here, let's say 15 years ago, it was practically dirt cheap. Not anymore. Not anymore. All right, let's see what we're doing out here. All right, so Lori's is saying tap the screen. But yeah, tap, tap, tap that like button if you will. Yeah, so the funny thing about my channel here is it sees a lot of people from I got 95% new people to follow me for the prayers out on my channel, not for me doing these lives. I get the same people that do the lives, obviously. So that part will never grow. But, you know, maybe someday somebody would join in. And I really would like to talk more about community, bringing community together, you know, from a perspective of not prayer, but more from understanding of spirituality and how all of us need to be still connected in one way or another. I'm still trying to figure out how to do that without sounding like I'm a religious channel, because that's the farthest from my mind. All right, here, Lori's is saying they want packed and stacked granny pots. Asking here, open garage yard up for more than feral cats. Let's see what else we have out here. Yeah, the empty houses nowadays, that's something else too. That's a whole new issue that we should be talking about. But yeah, Arnie is always about unity. Arnie, I'm liking your videos. I'm kind of guessing that those are AI out there that I see. If you guys haven't seen some of Arnie's work, I kind of like what you're doing, unless you are actually out there with a bunch of people holding up signs. But it's all about unity and no division. Arnie's got a big heart about no division, and there's so much of it right now. You can't get away from it. There's division against whether you're white, you're black, you're old, you're young. You know, it's just everything is divided, and the mentality of all of that is just, it's despicable. It really is. It is so bad. And we have to that has got to end. That has got to end. And I just think that that's the drama of the world today. If I could turn on a TV and see somebody fighting about something else against someone else just did this, or, you know, it just doesn't do anything for our souls. That's all that I can say. All right, let's see what Debbie says. My 34-year-old nephew wants a house so bad, but just can't do it at this time. I told him to have faith and hang in there. The day will come. Yeah, I do believe the interest rates are going to start coming down for next year. They got this guy that's running it now, the idiot that's on the Democratic side that just hates Trump. He's in there to the end of the year, and I think somebody else comes in January. So I think we're going to get a break with the interest rates. People are wanting to refinance. People are wanting to move. People are wanting to, you know, seniors are kind of wanting just to leave altogether. So we just have to, you know, we've been saying this for so long. We just got to hang in there. We just got to hang in there. Well, I'm done hanging. Let's see here. Arnie is basically letting us know he wrote his own songs, but created with AI. Yeah. Yeah. So just to let everyone know, and I know Arnie jumped in here because Arnie sent me a message. Arnie, I had to cancel the show with Dina. Jump. She'll come back in 2 weeks. Next week I have Laura Van Trine. If you guys don't know who she is, I'm trying to see if I have one of her books right here at my fingertips, which I should have had it. I've had her on here a couple of times. Um, she goes real deep with spirituality, you guys. You're gonna like her. And every show that I have, people like. Actually, somebody reached out to me and said, "Can you get Laura back on your show?" In a very old video of me that I probably did maybe a year and a half ago. And the last one actually I did with her, she actually had a live audience behind her that I couldn't see, or I think it was in front of her. She had an audience, and it was a lot of fun. So I can't wait to see what Laura brings to the table again. She sent me some of her books. She's an author also, so I look forward to that. But let's see here. Okay, so that I just want to kind of look at that a little bit, and like I said, I'm not going to talk about anything about New York or any of the blue states or any of that. There's enough of that shit going around. It's just so damn disgusting. It really is. But the $2,000 is supposed to be coming to people. Time will tell. I don't know if that's actually going to happen or not. Let's see. There's been so many discoveries, and I think we're going to be getting more about a lot of different things. And it's always going to be about the children or transgender or what have you. Let's see here. I'm just kind of scrolling here really quickly. Oh, one question for you guys. I'm just going to do a poll with you guys. That Mamdani, the once they voted in for the mayor, he's not the mayor yet, but police are leaving. Police are resigning. I don't know if that's true or not, but I don't think he's going to be around. I think they're gonna kick him back to wherever he came from. And I think that's what we're going to be seeing in 2026. I think it's going to be big changes for us. Let's see what else we have out here. I'm just trying to fly through the stuff there. So I guess there's some money's being deposited back into EBT. I don't know about that because I don't collect it, but people are saying that. And that's good. That could be some relief, especially if you have children and pets. Never leave the pets out. Let's see what else we have out here. Let's see. I'm just kind of running through these very quickly. All right. Okay. So it seems like what I'm seeing a lot of is that everybody's talking about the 1970 era. You know, we're going to be moving into 2026. It's been so long since 1970. And it's almost just like we're saying goodbye to the 70s at this time. And I love the 70s. I love the weirdness of the bell bottom pants, the fringe, whatever. I love that time. It was such a, the thing is, when I'm always talking about generations, they'll never understand what the 70s was and what it meant to us. Real cars, fast cars, the music. We thought freedom, obviously it wasn't, so on and so forth. But, let's see what else. I'm just kind of seeing the stuff. There are a lot of stuff out there about the 70s. Okay, I think that's about it. Let's see here. I actually do think that the gold and silver will be going up. So have faith in a little bit. So Debbie over there on Rumble was talking about, these kids are really wanting a house really bad. And I get that, especially when they have children and they just want to put a roof over their head. My niece talks about it. She's like 27 years old and she's dreaming. And I keep telling her, don't let go of that dream. Don't let go of your determination. You're going to get it. But at the same time, you still can't be going out and spending on everything that you want. I remember cutting back and just, I love watching the cha-ching going to my savings and knowing I was getting closer and closer to something that would bring me happiness and joy. But we're getting there. We are definitely getting there. And we got to get rid of, like Debbie says out there, the mad commie out of New York. We got to get rid of the bad players in this world. And I think that everybody will be better off once they start seeing more and more money in their pockets. And that's what we really are aiming for. And if you are considering downsizing something for an elderly parent and not putting them in a nursing home, for God forbid, please don't do that. Consider um, an in-laws on the thatch of your house. Consider, you could always go, and here's just food for thought. If you've got a senior parents that you could, have a conversation with and say, Mom, Dad, sell your place, take the money, we'll build you on the back of our house, or whatever is convenient. We'll build you something in the backyard. Do something like that where you're keeping the family together and not separating. As Arnie says, no division. Don't divide the family and forget about them, because that's why we're in this predicament that we're in, is that it became, instead of unity, it became, what about me? What about me? All right. Let's see here. Lori says, kids got a house for $60,000. Yeah. And believe you me, Lori, there's more people talking about the blue collar workers. Learn a trade, get something under your belt. I'm not ashamed to say my dad was a blue collar worker and he built homes for a living. There was nothing wrong with it. That was his time. That's what they did. They built half the houses across Illinois. And people need to get back and get their head out of the computers and get into understanding something else that's non-technical, and learning, being diversified and learning things across the board. All right, that's all that I got, unless you guys have anything else. Thank you for stopping in here today. I so appreciate it. And look forward to seeing you guys on my next show that I have. And let's see, I'm just trying to see if anybody's got anything else out there. Thank you, Debbie, out on Rumble, for being my co-host today. And I appreciate you guys here each and every day. Take care, and see you next time. Bye-bye.